All right, today we're joined with City of Waupaca Mayor Brian Smith and City Administrator Aaron Jensen as we talk about the COVID-19 situation. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
And a lot to talk about that's going on right now. And the first thing is looking into our community to see what the city and community resources can do to help us out.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. That is a concern of ours, and we've been talking about this for over a month now on what the city of Waupaca can do for our residents, which includes small businesses and large businesses for that matter, and all of our residents that are within the city. We've been knocking our heads together trying to come up with some ideas. We're still working on those. We would like to make sure that residents know that if they have a concern or businesses have a concern or an idea, don't be afraid to contact City Hall through the city administrator and get your ideas, and we'll give you some of our feedback too on where we're going. But I think the big thing that we're looking at here is look forward to the city being able to help you in ways that maybe you're not being helped in other areas.
Yeah, I think just to dovetail off of Mayor Smith, I think he hit it on the head. We are continuing to look at every tool we may have as a city to help our residents and businesses, and we're trying to determine, what does that look like? How do we do that responsibly? And one thing we can guarantee is that we are here. All of us are still here 40 hours a week. The city services are still here for you. So even if it's, hey, I want to give this input to our city administrator, myself, or to our park and rec director, or I'm concerned about something from a library standpoint, we are still available by email and phone. We want to hear from you, whether it's ideas or concerns or whatever it may be. And maybe it's just us providing the resource link we've been keeping up to date on some of those federal programs. We have been fortunate enough to be involved in a lot of those conversations. So we are here to answer questions.
You spoke a little bit about city services there, and I know one of the things we want to talk about a little bit is the city government is operating as close to normal as they're able to, and granted there's a lot of stipulations out there, a lot of orders, a lot of rules that have to be followed, a lot of things that are different, but do you want to speak about how the city government's operating a little bit?
Yeah, as I've said to city staff and also to the city council, when we first started meeting virtually, which is what we're doing right now, we're all in 3 different places, obviously, but it was kind of fun at first, but it's getting old. But I do think we're getting better at it too. I think we're able to accomplish things that I don't think we really thought that we were going to be able to do. If you were to ask me what percentage do I think we are working at in the city, I would say, it's greater than 75%, which I think is awesome. To tell you the truth, I mean, I would have guessed if we could work at a 50% capacity under these circumstances, that would have been good. But I think we're much better than that, and I think it's getting better every day that we do this too.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I would agree with his assessment on the percentage. I would say that over that 75% productivity mark is absolutely. I think that's a good, accurate reflection. I think we feel like we have the responsibility of getting as much work as we can done while being an example for staying safe in our community as well. And I think our department heads and council have been on the same track as that, and I think that's been fantastic. And we plan on continuing that. I know in all the conversations I've had, and yeah, I think we're here. I'll reiterate that we're available. So,
well, Mayor, you touched on it a little bit, the virtual meetings and city council, the committees, they've been meeting virtually. Do you guys want to talk a little more about that process, about the virtual meetings, and maybe how the public can become involved in those and how that process is going?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest concerns that we really have is that we want to make sure that we are being transparent with ourselves, our council and our staff and the mayor's office, but especially with our citizens of the city. And that's probably been our most difficult part, is making sure that residents are able to have the ability to give us some public input on what's going on there. And so we've come up with a couple of things that we think, although it isn't going to be where you're going to have the ability to stand in front of a whole city council, you are going to have the ability to make comments, and we are going to respond to those comments on a timely fashion. So, Aaron, you want to just touch on some of the things that we are doing?
Yeah, so we've created an email. I think it's publicinput@cityofwaupaca.org, and we just strongly urge anyone to email that email with any comments you may have. I think it's important to note that we would, for your comments to be shared with City Council or with the committee, you should be stating your name, your address, where do you reside, that kind of stuff, and then a contact information to get back to you, because ultimately, if you have comments on something, we want to be able to communicate with you to resolve whatever it may be. So, yeah, we're looking forward to continuing that. And to be honest with you, it's not like, email the public input email, but if you email myself or if you find a department head, it's not like that message isn't going to get to where it needs to go to our elected officials, and feel free to do that as well.
And with all these virtual meetings going on, obviously there's a lot of COVID-19 stuff being discussed that's at the forefront, but the city's also trying to move forward as much as possible with business as normal.
Yeah, we had a city council meeting last night. We are moving forward with a number of things that we had planned to move forward with. They got put on hold maybe for the last two meetings, but as I said, as we get better at meeting virtually, I think we're back to trying to run city as it normally does. And quite honestly, businesses are interested in moving forward also. And we've had some developers recently too that have had some interest in doing things in the city of Waupaca too. So that really makes me believe that they've come through this COVID-19 with the idea that we do need to look forward, and someday this will be behind us, the COVID-19, I mean, and they need to be on their feet and running when that does happen.
Yeah, I would say just in the last week and a half or so, Josh, we've received some of those calls from an economic development standpoint. It's good to see, because we're talking to some businesses, some larger, some smaller, trying to get a gauge for where people at. We understand this is a tough time for businesses specifically, and for residents, but it was good to hear from some of those calls that we received that, hey, people are still looking to do some things here, and we look forward to continuing to move those processes forward. So if they want to do things, not like it's going to be slower on our end. So reach out. We'll continue those processes through plan commission and approvals and inspections, and we'll keep it rolling for you. So yeah, I think that was a positive.
Another important thing going on right now, different topic, is the 2020 census. That was kind of forefront, and then the virus kind of stole the spotlight, but the census is still moving forward as planned, and it's a very important part of all communities' futures, including ours, to ensure adequate funding and representation. Do you want to speak a little bit what's going on locally with the census?
Yeah, Aaron knows a lot more about what's going on as far as how to handle that, but I do want to say that there are ways for you to do that, and they were even before COVID-19, where you could just be sitting at home and be able to fill out the census. And if you envisioned, if you're one of those people that decides not to fill it out, you're not being counted for a lot of things that would not only help our city, but it helps our county, it helps our school district, it helps the state of Wisconsin. So we would like to see 100% of the people respond to it. And obviously every community would like to do that. But if we're at 100% and one of our neighbors is only at 90%, that puts us a little bit ahead of them too. So again, we don't want that, but we want to be the people that are at 100%.
Yeah, I agree with Mayor Smith there. You know, some of the things that we had planned, Josh, to do to help people through this online process have changed now because of the COVID-19. Our library staff was going to set up rooms where people could come in and use the internet to fill out their online survey. Our senior center and rec center staff were going to have lab hours where people could actually assist them if they had questions. And that stuff obviously can't happen. Our facilities are closed. So we reached out to our regional rep, it's actually out of a Midwest rep out of Chicago, had a conversation with him yesterday. And I think just some of the stuff we're going to be doing to remind people to get that taken care of is putting signs in high traffic areas. You might think, what the heck is a high traffic area right now? But grocery stores, you know, some of those essential services, how do we get that promotional material there where if people are going somewhere, that's where it's going to be. And just reminding people how important it is to get that in. It's going to impact us for the next decade. So, and I've done it. I did mine right away when I got it, and it took me 4 minutes, maybe. And if you're not comfortable with the online stuff, call us, because I would be happy to help you through any of that, and our staff would be happy to help you through, even if we get on our computers and we walk through it with you and say, this is the button to click on, so on and so forth. So yeah, so that's a little bit on the census, and can't overstate the importance of it. So.
And as we close out our conversation today, there's one recommendation from the CDC to help keep people safe. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, so the CDC really over the last week and a half or so, I believe, came out, and even I think for the federal government said, hey, it's a recommendation to wear masks in public whenever you go out in public. And I'll be the first to say I was like, man, I feel pretty goofy wearing a mask. But the reality is it's not about protecting myself, even if I wasn't as worried. It's about protecting those around you, right? So I think we've bought in. Mayor Smith, I know, has one. I know I have mine right next to my desk here. It's a pretty sweet design. There we go. So let's put her on here, see if. Oh yeah. So anyway, we encourage everybody to wear one of these things when they go out, and we just want to remind you, it's not about you necessarily. It's about protecting those around us. And if we want to get, I probably can't talk. Maybe you can't hear me. If we want to get back up and running again, I think every little thing we can do like this, take those extra precautions, that's important. So.
Yeah, and just to finish up on that topic too, you know, I think most people realize that they probably should be doing something. As you see people, if you have to go to the grocery store or one of the stores like Fleet Farm or something like that, you'll see people that are looking at you. So be a leader in this. You know, when you're supposed to be wearing a mask, wear a mask. Don't be a follower and be the person that doesn't wear one because it doesn't match your shirt or it's embarrassing to you. You know, the best thing you could do is to be on the safe side, and it makes a lot of sense to have that mask available to you at all times, so that anytime somebody gets within 6 feet of you, you have the ability to put that mask on and protect everyone around you.
So are there good resources out there for people to obtain a mask that maybe don't have the materials at home to make one, or any advice in that manner?
Yeah, I think there are. Josh, I actually thought maybe we posted something on our website for how to make a mask. Did we do that on our Facebook page?
We did, but I guess I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit. If there is someone that just doesn't have the stuff at home, you know, not everyone has rubber bands or the right piece of cloth sitting around. So what kind of advice do you have for people that want to do the right thing and wear a mask and maybe just don't have access to the materials to create one? I think there are people like that in that boat out there.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't have that offhand right now, but I think if these people are concerned and they don't have any resources whatsoever, give the city a call, because we do have some people that we know, or we have a channel that we can get out to people that are making these masks, and certainly can help those out. You know, as I walk my pets in the morning, I had a neighbor of mine that came out of his house and said, yeah, my sister-in-law is making these, and he had a great big paper bag full of them. Each one of them was individually wrapped in a plastic bag, and said, hey, how many do you need? And you know, and he offered them up to me. So I could certainly talk to him and see if he has any left, you know, but there are resources out there. So I think the best thing is to just contact City Hall, and we'll try and figure it out for him.
Yeah, that's a great point. Actually, Josh, I just got off the phone yesterday with somebody that they're a part of a group that has made 4,500 handmade masks here in Waupaca. I might be wrong on this number, but I thought they said there's like 250 people in this group. They kind of congregated via social media, and they've made it primarily for our healthcare providers, and they've been giving them to them. But right now, they said they're kind of transitioning to, hey, whoever else may need it, with exactly what you're saying, or just going to the grocery store, whatever it may be. So contact us. We'll make that connection, and hopefully everyone can get what they need.
And I was in one of those situations where I don't have much around my apartment to make when I'm looking for, the right size cloth, trying that video, and I'm just not finding anything. And my mom's also in one of those groups, so I've got one coming in the mail from her that she made. So, I mean, that's kind of why I've asked it. Not everyone has, the rubber bands or maybe that right size piece of cloth sitting around to throw something together. And with stores closed and limited, it's kind of hard to find some of this stuff. So it's good to hear there's people out there making them, and some potential resources for people that may have difficulty getting the stuff together to be safe.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, Mayor Smith, Aaron, thanks for your time to update the community on some of the things going on right now. So good conversation.
Josh, thank you for taking time out to do this today. Appreciate it. As much as we could get the word out, it's hopefully going to make people feel better, and know that we are doing things to try and help them.
Yeah. Josh, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you.